with another video today, and we're finally going to be doing the 10-bolt conversion on the dually. So I'm going to walk you guys through what you're going to need and what mistakes not to make, because I definitely made some along the way. Okay, so I've got everything laid out here. We've got all 6 wheels. We've got 2 fronts here. These are going to be the passenger rears, and these are going to be the driver rears. For those that are wondering on size, these were originally 24.5-inch Alcoas. They were milled down to 24s. So how that looks is when they take these, normally this tapers on an angle kind of like this up, and all they do is they basically mill that down so it's flat right on this section. So this is one of my spares, and I just had it done so I have it. But yeah, they just mill it flat on this section here, and then just make sure you have a good lip for a bead. So they've all been milled down to 24-inch wheels. These are 285/40 Venom Ragnaroks, so they're going to be great for towing. They are a directional tread, so you just got to make sure you put them on the right way. And obviously we have to convert to 10 bolts, so we've got adapters over here. Now the one mistake that I made before we get into this is I bought, without doing my research correctly, stud pilot wheels instead of hub pilot wheels. So basically that means that the wheel is centered and held in place by the studs and not the hub bore. So that means that I had to get an entirely different setup than most people, because all of the adapters that are made and manufactured for this conversion are meant for hub pilots instead of stud pilots. So those are called bud wheels. So now we've got our adapters. These are going to be for the fronts. These are nice and easy, just a tapered nut so that that it's held on correctly. These are the rears, longer stud, and then these are the bud nuts. So right here is the inner nut, so that goes on in between the 2 wheels on the stud. So you put your first wheel on, you put this inner nut on, and then you put this outer nut on after you put the second wheel on, and it holds both of them in place with these tapered pieces. If you go ahead and you get hub pilot ones, all you're going to have is a stud and a nut that you have to put on, and life's easy. These are expensive, and the adapters had to get made custom because they don't really mass produce these, because nobody does this with bud nuts. These adapters were custom made by Bronson, so if you guys are looking and you're like, oh, I made this mistake and I can't figure out where to get these from, those are the guys. So we're gonna go ahead, get the rears off. I'm gonna do one side first, and then obviously you're just gonna have to repeat the same things on the other side. Goodbye studs in July. Okay, now I'm just going to clean up this mounting surface so that we get a nice clean mount. Now we're going to take our adapter and put it on. Okay guys, so I've learned that I think I have these backwards, or the company that made these did the studs on the wrong ones, because this center bore is twice as thick as the short ones, but these bud nuts can't bottom out because of this gap down here. They get all the way down, and then they reach this piece where it stops threading, and they can't get flush. But on this one, they can get flush, and these ones can tighten up nice and snug on that one. Okay guys, so I did have it backwards. You actually have to use the ones with the shorter studs for the rear and the ones with the longer studs for the front. So I went ahead and swapped them, got the shorter one on. We're gonna go ahead, crank it on. You do have to work a little bit in order to get it flush back here, at least I did. There's some studs in here that have a bit of a taper on them, and it has to really squeeze over those tapered studs. Adapter is nice and snug now. We're gonna go ahead and put the inner on, and then put a bud nut on, and then put the next wheel on, and then a nut. So now the inner bud nuts go on. Remember, if you chose not to be stupid like me and you got hub pilots, you don't even need inner nuts. You literally just put 2 wheels on studs and you put a nut on. Now, a trucking friend of mine told me to put a little bit, just a little bit of blue Loctite on a couple of these, like maybe 4 of them, just to help hold them on. Don't use red, otherwise you'll never get them off. Just use a little bit of blue to help keep them on as a safety. And I'm just gonna add a little dab on a couple of these. And now there's a special tool for bud nuts that you can use on this square piece. I'm just gonna use a crescent wrench. Don't tell anybody. It's gonna work. Okay.
dude.
Okay, so we're gonna throw the outer on now, so we have to put our plastic spacer in between. That's gonna go over the bud nuts. And then we'll toss the outer on and we'll snug her up.
Friend's daughter needs a car.
Yeah.
I was like, it was like, damn.
Rears are all snugged up. This is how she sits. We got lots of clearance with the leaves there. Looks dope though. So the front's definitely a little more simple than the rear. We've got our adapter, which is some beveled nuts so that they'll sink in and hold the wheel in the right place. We've got the regular lug nuts for our actual lug on the truck. And then we've got one plastic spacer to go in between the adapter and the wheel. Braces.
Yep. It's like sometimes.
Oh.
It's working.
Okay guys, we got everything hand tight. We're gonna go ahead, drop this back under its own weight, snug everything up and torque them down. And then we just got one more side to go. She's ready to roll.
Booyah, booyah. Oh.
Okay guys, here she is. Everything's bolted up and it is looking unreal. I'm super happy with the fitment. I've got almost full crank actually. I just turned the keys up a little bit to give me a little more clearance in between the bumper and with the fender, and it actually almost gets full crank. So that's pretty sweet. Okay guys, so that's gonna wrap this one up. If you have any questions about the fitment or what I use or anything like that, make sure you drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.